Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The act of designating or identifying something. The process of recognizing something or someone by remembering. Evidence of identity. Something that identifies a person or thing. The attribution to yourself, consciously or unconsciously, of the characteristics of another person, or group of persons. The condition of having the identity, of a person or object, established. The thief's identification was followed quickly by his arrest. Identifying word or words by which someone or something is called and classified or distinguished from others. The act of designating or identifying something. The act of putting a person into a non-elective position. Approval. Give her recognition for trying. The process of recognizing something or someone by remembering. A politician whose recall of names was as remarkable as his recognition of faces. The state or quality of being recognized or acknowledged. The partners were delighted with the recognition of their work. Coming to understand something clearly and distinctly. A sudden recognition of the problem he faced. An acceptance, as of a claim, as true and valid. The recognition of the Rio Grande as a boundary between Mexico and the United States. Biology. The ability of one molecule to attach to another molecule that has a complementary shape. Molecular recognition drives all of biology. For instance, hormone and receptor or antibody-antigen interactions are the organization of molecules into larger biologically active entities. Designation by the chair granting a person the right to speak in a deliberative body. He was unable to make his motion because he couldn't get recognition by the chairman. The explicit and formal acknowledgement of a government or of the national independence of a country. Territorial disputes were resolved in Guatemala's recognition of Belize in 1991. The act of determining the properties of something, usually by research or calculation. Something that is found. The findings in the gastrointestinal tract indicate that he died several hours after dinner. The decision of a court on issues of fact or law. The act of making up your mind about something. A position or opinion or judgment reached after consideration. Satisfied with the panel's determination. The quality of being determined to do or achieve something. Firmness of purpose. His determination showed in his every movement. The act of determining the properties of something, usually by research or calculation. The determination of molecular structures. Deciding or controlling something's outcome or nature. The determination of grammatical inflections. The cognitive processes whereby past experience is remembered. He enjoyed remembering his father. The power of retaining and recalling past experience. He had a good memory when he was younger. An electronic memory device. A memory and the CPU form the central part of a computer to which peripherals are attached. The cognitive processes whereby past experience is remembered. He can do it from memory. Something that is remembered. Search as he would, the memory was lost. The area of cognitive psychology that studies memory processes. He taught a graduate course on learning and memory. Provide evidence for. Provide evidence for. Stand as proof of. Show by one's behavior, attitude, or external attributes. Give evidence. Your basis for belief or disbelief. Knowledge on which to base belief. The evidence that smoking causes lung cancer is very compelling. An indication that makes something evident. His trembling was evidence of his fear. Law. All the means by which any alleged matter of fact whose truth is investigated at judicial trial is established or disproved. An operator that leaves unchanged the element on which it operates. The identity under numerical multiplication as 1. Exact sameness. They shared an identity of interests. The distinct personality of an individual regarded as a persisting entity. You can lose your identity when you join the army. The individual characteristics by which a thing or person is recognized or known. Geneticists only recently discovered the identity of the gene that causes it. The quality of being individual. So absorbed by the movement that she lost all sense of individuality. The distinct personality of an individual regarded as a persisting entity. The distinct personality of an individual regarded as a persisting entity. The procedure that is varied in order to estimate a variable's effect by comparison with a control condition. Develop a child's or animal's behavior by instruction and practice, especially to teach self-control. Specify as a condition or requirement in a contract or agreement. Make an express demand or provision in an agreement. The state of good health, especially in the phrases in condition, or in shape, or out of condition, or out of shape. A state at a particular time. A condition, or state, of disrepair. Usually plural, a statement of what is required as part of an agreement. The contract set out the conditions of the lease. An assumption on which rests the validity or effect of something else. Information that should be kept in mind when making a decision. A mode of being or form of existence of a person or thing. The human condition. An illness, disease, or other medical problem. A heart condition. Apply conditioner to in order to make smooth and shiny. I condition my hair after washing it. Establish a conditioned response. Put into a better state. He conditions old cars. A state at a particular time. The current status of the arms negotiations. The relative position or standing of things or especially persons in a society. He had the status of a minor. Identifying the nature or cause of some phenomenon. Identifying the nature or cause of some phenomenon. Identification of a person from the sound of their voice. Identification of a person from the sound of their voice. Identification of the gun that fired a bullet from an analysis of the unique marks that every gun makes on the bullet it fires and on the shell ejected from it. The automatic identification of living individuals by using their physiological and behavioral characteristics. Negative identification can only be accomplished through biometric identification. Identification of the gun that fired a bullet from an analysis of the unique marks that every gun makes on the bullet it fires and on the shell ejected from it. The automatic identification of living individuals by using their physiological and behavioral characteristics. Identification of criminals and terrorists by means of videotapes of their faces. Facial profiling is a new form of airport security. A smudge made by a dirty finger. A generic term for any identifying characteristic. That tax bill had the senator's fingerprints all over it. A print made by an impression of the ridges in the skin of a finger, often used for biometric identification in criminal investigations. Take an impression of a person's fingerprints. Identification of the gun that fired a bullet from an analysis of the unique marks that every gun makes on the bullet it fires and on the shell ejected from it. The automatic identification of living individuals by using their physiological and behavioral characteristics. Mark or stamp with or as if with pressure. Establish or impress firmly in the mind. We imprint our ideas onto our children. An impression produced by pressure or printing. A concavity in a surface produced by pressing. A device produced by pressure on a surface. A distinctive influence. English stills bears the imprint of the Norman invasion. An identification of a publisher. A publisher's name along with the date and address and edition that is printed at the bottom of the title page. The book was published under a distinguished imprint. Using speech characteristics or dialect to identify a speaker's race or religion or social class. Evidence proving that you are not who you say you are not. Evidence establishing that you are not among a group of people already known to the system. Recognition by the system leads to rejection. A system for negative identification can prevent the use of multiple identities by a single person. Evidence proving that you are who you say you are. Evidence establishing that you are among the group of people already known to the system. Recognition by the system leads to acceptance. A system for positive identification can prevent the use of a single identity by several people. Recording a person's behavior and analyzing psychological characteristics in order to predict or assess their ability in a certain sphere or to identify a particular group of people.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.